Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Time. I'm Dean.
I'm Chris.
Thanks so much for joining us. We are glad to get together and talk about some different articles here and share with you just the conversation Chris and I is having. As you know, we trying to get together and maybe break up, stream a conversation here for however long, and then break that up in a couple segments. So we'll see if that happens again today. So we got a lot of thoughts, a lot of things we want to put out there, but then we don't know, how much to put out there. But the only thing we are attempting to do, whatever the big picture is, and the reasons sometimes we turn this camera on and put it out there, is to we appreciate the back and forth with the comments. We know that there's a lot of things that we say, and obviously the ones that listen, there's something that resonates with you all out there. And so we get that, in spirit, we can relate to each other that way a little bit. We appreciate that that's there. But all we want to do, speak for Chris here too, if there's anything we could do, just to maybe if you could take something, or we can encourage you somehow, or bring you a little peace somehow. That's impossible. We don't know. We kind of question, what are we doing, or how can we do that? But that's all we're trying to do. As we go about our journey, learning these wonderful things that we find in Scripture, and asking questions like Chris and I, all the things we don't have figured out. So some of that I maybe want to talk about, on the show today, how, in the past that really frustrated me. When that became a reality, to me, that, hey, I'm not as if I thought I would. I guess I did at some point, thought I could figure it all out. But when it was really humbling that, man, I'm not going to figure this out. And then it got to the point where I'm at now that it's impossible. There's no way of knowing, and what I'm saying, knowing, we can get a lot of knowledge, but knowing a real truth in spirit from Father, from our Creator, through His Son, relating in spirit to like these wow things that happen. Really knowing that's impossible. You can't study that out and learn that. It's going to hit you like the Paul experience, the Damascus Road experience. Something's going to hit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're going to turn and think differently. And that doesn't come from me. It doesn't come from my work. I mean, I used to get frustrated. I just told Chris this recently, or just today. I used to get really frustrated. I couldn't figure all this out, and then became thankful that, because it's not me to study all that out. But then I became thankful if I did put a lot of work into it, I just would have arrived at the wrong thing anyway. It's what I probably would have done all this work, and it would have been like, oh, that wasn't even correct. So
that's like your conversation about the people on YouTube, and they're like the celestial beings. Go, oh, look what he came up with.
Yeah. Some of these scientists have figured out that if you just go 1% more in intelligence, it's the same thing of how we would look at like animals or something. How we're like seeing the really smart one, but it's like, they're at about a 1-year-old, capacity or something.
Yeah.
But there's another intelligence out there that, would look at the human, the genius, the people that can see math calculations and things in their head, and they know everything just instantly. They're a genius. But so there's other intelligence out there. It's like, oh, look at little Timmy. He just arrived, or he just graduated out of preschool.
Right.
When he saw, our lack of ability to figure things out. It has to be given. That's what we think. Some of these big things. And I'm talking about the things in spirit. Of course, we can learn.
We can learn what a word means. We can learn.
Yeah, you can learn all that and dissect that and believe it, or form doctrines of belief around it. Because, hey, it says it right here, and then you form this belief, and that's what you think is all truth. I'm just seeing that differently now.
Yeah.
But it brings me a lot of comfort to see it that way. To not get so, not like this article that Chris brought, taking myself so seriously that I got to figure it all out so I can present it to someone else.
Right.
or even figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
I go with what brings peace. I go and trust the Father that He's going to bring me along my journey as He sees fit. It's already planned out. I got no worries about it. So, Chris, take it from there.
Well, I was appreciating how you started. It was making me think of the comments that our show gets, and then the how this is all unfolded. Whenever we started this thing, the preeminence and the importance we placed on these shows. And today, you know, we come down here and we turn the camera on and we just let it run while we go over topics and stuff. And you turn that into 2, maybe 3 shows. It's funny because for me, it's about getting over here and touching base with you and Amy.
Sure. Right.
And oh, by the way, while we're here, let's turn the camera on and talk about some things. So it's funny how my plans for this, you know, and today I look at it and go, well, maybe Father was doing something, wouldn't that be the case almost always? A little something else is going on. And I finally get on board with it, you know, and we love, you know, the comments, and they're encouraging to us, and we hope we're an encouragement to you. Today, coming over here and talking with Dino, it's been 2 weeks since we were last together, and I was sharing with him that a son was headed out the door this week. We had 2 incredibly busy weeks watching kids and helping our adult children with watching kids in between daycare and summer camps and start up a school. So we've had kids nearly every day for 2 weeks. Some of them spent the night with us. So we've been very busy. However, my oldest son stepped in. He was going out there and he mentioned, you know, some sort of spiritual question or spiritual matter that our oldest grandson had brought up. And he turns 10 this month. And I was telling Dean, it immediately perked something in me where I was like, well, what was that? And Clark didn't have time to go into that. And I told Dean it was amazing how quickly I wanted to put my hands on the steering wheel of my grandson's journey. You know, he's in a Catholic school system, and, you know, obviously they're going to church and so forth. And it was amazing how quickly I wanted to be there, you know, to correct, to guide and stuff. There's nothing wrong with those feelings, and I understand that. But I'm also struck by the human side of me that just immediately leaps forward. And this is a repetitive thing that Father has used. He shows me a lot of stuff just by the repetitiveness of my actions as a human and the way I react. And it was comforting in a way for me to get back to, hey, I don't need to get a hold of my grandson's steering wheel, you know, and correct these things. When Father will make time for that, you know, I'm going to be patient, going to trust Father, certainly trusting the life of this grandson in Father's hands. And if a situation arises where the two of us, and it does sound like if you got a 10-year-old who's already has some questions about things, there's going to be an opportunity afforded me at some point, you know, and I don't need to be manipulating that situation. I can just let it come to me.
Here's the other side of that point, though, too. It's fascinating. I'm picturing it's just happening in my mind, like over here, that meeting of you and your 10-year-old grandson. But I'm thinking, who's the real teacher in that
that is such a good point, because in considering that, I thought, what will he teach me?
I know it. That's awesome.
And that's a real thing, and that speaks to the progression of our journey. We're getting to this place where we understand that Father, He's using everything, in our journey. That was another conversation we had upstairs. I have been considering how we talk about the journey. And this week I was on, Clyde has a site, BSN Radio, and he has a number of shows, and they're short little shows. I was going to send this to Dino and see if he can tag it at the bottom of this show. And it was about the intersection of our lives, and that Father is obviously in control of all this, and the people he brings into your life, and they're there for a while, and they have an impact, one way or another, good or bad, or however that is. People stay in your lives. People then slowly, their lives pull them in other directions, and then they're back out of your lives and stuff. And so I've been in my mind about this journey, and then I started thinking, really, the journey is, it's a lot of journeys, and it made me, somehow I got around to the idea of it's all about arrivals and departures. The whole thing, I was even laughing thinking of the ETA, the estimated time of arrival, and how we come to, you're speaking about this, how we have to come to these things through revelation or realization. And what appears to be these long periods of time, I believed hell was true. That was a truth that I stood on.
Yeah, we thought it was. We thought it was a real place, I guess.
Yeah,
it's hard to talk about it now, but
it is hard because of what we believe today.
But of course, at a time, we can say, yeah, we thought it was real,
and it would motivate me.
You're right.
The fear of it would motivate me, and then when you see that same fear where your loved ones are concerned, it pulls you into that arena, if you want to. It pulls you into that to protect, to want to protect their sense of well-being about the truth of that doctrine. That was a departure. That was a truth I had to let go of. Now, it was one of the easier ones for me to let go of.
And so with that, another thought that Chris and I have talked about a little today. Maybe Chris will help get the words out of me. Thought. But if we're talking about the hell topic, okay, I'm talking about belief, say, and put it in those terms. There again, it's hard. I want to say that, well, maybe I didn't really believe it or something in me. Because when you arrive at a different place and you know that it's not possible truth, or it has nothing to do with anything associated with an all-knowing and all-loving Father. There's no way that most of his creation he's going to eternally torture like that I used to believe.
Right.
So you come to know that, okay, that can't be. Now, there's a lot of people and that's when I first learned some 20 years ago when I first started sharing my new beliefs. Well, a lot of people that did believe it and knew the scriptures way better than me was trying to help me, was trying to get their hands on my steering, like, Dean's departing into a bad territory.
Another person on another journey.
Right. So they were trying to really show me that you're not seeing this, Dean. And they would use every tactic to drive me. You're doing that. You're doing this, and you're believing that this. You're interpreting. You're just wanting to see that. It's good that you want everybody, and that's not what Scripture's saying. They really believed Scripture was teaching hell.
Yes.
That's all they could see. And so I battled that with them without now seeing a bigger picture that, when you arrive at certain places, when you just know something, okay, now I can say it. All right, what am I fighting anymore? I know it to be true for me and can present that and love people. And if they think I'm crazy about that, it's okay. Father's going to bring them onto it eventually.
Yeah, he's got a prescribed time.
Right, so that's what there's not this need, back to kind of Chris's point, what's our motivation to drive these things. So when we're studying or when we're sharing or when we're doing things, what is that motivation? It's got to be love. It's got to be peace and help and God. And if we can do that, you can do it. But sometimes you can't, you're not going to get there. Back in my story, I think I've shared this. I had a gentleman tell me, and it has to do with, if you start believing something different than somebody else, they think they got the truth. They're going to warn you, and they're going to have, there's a lot of fear comes in, and they're going to try to guide you and like, look, this is not
right.
Don't go there. And it'll get so far. It happened to me. It got, I've had these warnings, and all these things happen where you're off track. You need to get back on track. But it got so far in my past where a gentleman, this guy I respect, smart man, great man, thought that I had a demon on me.
Yeah.
He literally thought it. And you come at a loss to where when you know that a certain thing is true about the Father, all I could say was, I hope that whatever you're seeing or whatever you're telling me, if you see this demon on me, because he actually thought he saw something, and these things are happening, it was so intense for him, and was so concerned for me. All I could say was, I don't want to upset you, but I hope whatever's happening, this demon, whatever he's doing, if he's fooling me now about this good God and all that, I hope he stays. I hope he stays on me.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I know this to be true in my heart. Well, okay, that's troubling, right? That's going to be what Chris said. You're going to arrive and people are going to intersect in and out of your life.
Yeah.
Because of believing